Hello, everyone. Heather Holmes here with K2B Fox 2 News in the San Francisco Bay Area. And joining me once again is Dr. Rashid Chotani. He is medical director at IEM and also an infectious disease expert and spending a lot of time on researching COVID-19. Doctor, always a pleasure to have you here.
It's always a pleasure to be with you, Heather, specifically today, which is a very important day.
Yeah.
And we've got to remember the importance of 9/11. Everyone has a story from this day 19 years ago, and I have one too, but we just don't have the time to talk about COVID. However, what everybody knows and everybody observed was that the entire nation came together to help each other. Right now we are fighting a common enemy, COVID-19. And what I would like to see is that everybody, the entire nation coming together to fight, to defeat this virus.
Boy, that certainly would be nice. And that sort of connection to 9/11, everyone coming together collectively would be nice to see in the coronavirus. Let's go ahead and update viewers now on where things stand, because we are seeing some good news finally.
Yes, in the U.S., we've got about 6.6 million cases. That's still a huge number, about 195,000 deaths. We've flattened the curve, and we are on our way down, and most of the states are seeing less number of cases. We've kind of plateaued at about 30,000 cases per day and 700 deaths. We are still not where we were in June. We still want to get lower and lower these numbers as much as possible, because this is still the second surge in the first wave. Remember, we are still in the first wave. Yesterday, unfortunately, we had about 38,000 cases and about 1,000 deaths. At this rate, if we continue, we will have about 7 million cases by the end of this month and close to 210 deaths. And that means that 210 individuals are not going to be sitting at the dining table with their families, and that's not a good number. So we've got to work together to defeat this virus. And right now, we've got to make sure that we are using the right protective measures. I think we can do it. I believe I'm very, very, very optimistic we can do it if we all come together and wear the mask, observe social distancing, so we can bring this number down, because our baseline is still pretty high, and we are approaching the influenza season. And I am afraid that if our baseline continues to be as high as it is, then as we get into the influenza season, we will have a huge burden on the healthcare system in the country.
Yeah, obviously a bit of good news, but obviously still so many concerns about this virus.
Well, absolutely. It's very good news that we are, at last, coming to a point that we are, bringing the numbers down. But, there's so many things going on at the same time in our nation, and I feel for California right now, where you are, with 400 wildfires that have broken out in the last few days. Tens of thousands of people have been evacuated. Millions of acres have been burned. And this is with 14,000 Californians who've lost their lives because of COVID. And, this is also forcing people to stay home, keep their windows closed with a heat wave going on, not getting, outside, not getting the clean air, because astonishingly, there's, the smoke is really bad. And, and the Bay Area is worst in terms of the effects of these fires. So all of these things are coming together in a very bad way for our nation. And we all need to work together to make sure that we deal with it in a very positive and a congenial way together, rather than, divided.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more on that, Doctor. Let's talk a little bit now about vaccine, because there was a lot of news this week regarding the vaccines, those that are right now in the phase 3 of the clinical trials, and big news about one in particular having to stop. Let's talk a little bit about the reasons why that particular trial ended.
So it is unclear whether the adverse effects that were reported that caused with the AstraZeneca phase 3 studies and that put the trial on a pause were actually caused by transverse myelitis or not. There are some reports that are suggesting that are not really verified report that the patient, a female patient in the UK, was diagnosed with this disease. And but there's something that is going on. More facts are coming out, but it is pretty clear that at least one individual had some serious side effect. due to the, we don't know if that individual was vaccinated or if that individual was on placebo. Well, it is not uncommon for vaccine trials to be put on hold as researchers investigate whether illnesses that occur in a study volunteer are in fact related to the vaccine or not. It is quite common for serious adverse events that occur because you're talking about a large population, and most of the time, they're not really relevant to the vaccine.
Oh, okay. So explain to folks at home what exactly transverse myelitis is and how serious it is.
So, well, transverse myelitis, in simple terms, is an inflammation of the spinal cord. It's not a good thing to have. Let's put it this way. It is a mixed inflammatory disease that affects neurons, axons, and other oligodendrites that produce something called myelin. And myelitis is a medical term. Myelitis itself is a medical term that is defined as the inflammation of the spinal cord. And then we add a modifier to it, which is transverse, which explains as the pattern of the symptoms across the body. So that is what the disease itself is. And the disease can be caused, the majority of the disease that we have seen called transverse myelitis is idiopathic, meaning that the cause is uncertain. It has been associated with nervous system autoimmune disorders, like multiple sclerosis and autoimmune disorders such as sarcoidosis, Sjogren's syndrome, and all that. But a full-blown transverse myelitis can be the first thing that you see in individuals that might develop full-blown multiple sclerosis. Now this disease has also been seen with infectious diseases, right? And has been linked with infectious diseases such as enteroviruses, and we've heard about West Nile virus, and people know about that, and Zika virus. It has also been seen, as a complication of Lyme disease. So, there are a lot of things that could start this problem, right? Could trigger this disease. And, there are several reports right now that are published that have suggested that COVID-19 itself could trigger transverse myelitis.
Okay, so when you hear that though, and when people at home hear that, it seems as though it raises some concern. Explain to folks how, that is the point of these trials though, right, doctor? To test things and to see early any sort of side effects or anything that would do people harm.
Absolutely, and that is why we do all these studies. Now, there's a study that came out in 2016, published in the Journal of Clinical Infectious Diseases, that looked at a vaccine safety database among 64 million vaccine doses that were given out. And what they found was they found just 7 cases of transverse myelitis, and which were not statistically associated with prior vaccination. So, we've got to take everything with a grain of salt, right? Now, the disease itself, if you ask me, how many cases of this disease just occur on a regular basis annually in the United States? Well, depending on the study, you will find that, between 2,500 and 8,000 cases occur without any, vaccination. They just occur. That's
just in general.
Just in general, that's what happens. And, and that's what we are dealing with. So unless and until we prove completely that the individual that developed this particular element he was vaccinated, number one. Number two, what was the reaction and what exactly happened? So lots of more investigation needs to be done, and it's being done right now to make sure that we are not bringing out a vaccine that is not safe for individuals, right? We just want to do that. And you probably saw the statement coming out from all the vaccine developers that we will not be pushed by any political pressure. We will look at the data. We will share the data. We will be transparent about it. And unless and until we have a vaccine that is safe and efficacious, we're not going to bring it out in the market. Now, a lot of people are saying, what is the push of bringing out this vaccine? Well, the world is suffering right now, and we have nothing else big time in our arsenal to deal with this problem.
Right.
And nothing wrong with pushing as hard as possible with Operation Warp Speed to bring out a vaccine in record time. We've invested a lot of money in it, but at the same time, we all know that the scientists that are dealing with this, who are handling this, are not going to bring out a vaccine to be given to the American population that is not going to be safe and it's not going to be efficacious. And I have confidence in those individuals that that is exactly what's going to happen.
Still, though, doctor, there was a survey, a recent survey, and it found something like 24% of people surveyed said that they would be willing to take the vaccine. That's a small percentage. What do we need to do to build up confidence in a potential vaccine?
So there are multiple issues, right, that are going on, and that is what is of tremendous concern. Number one, people are hearing that that vaccine might not be safe.
Mm-hmm.
And that message has resonated. There is a particular lobby in the United States that is against vaccination of any kind. And they've taken that as gospel and are pushing that. They're also pushing the fact that the vaccine might just be 50% efficacious. So people are going, well, it's just 50% efficacious, so why should I take it? The other issue and a problem with the vaccine is that it is not going to be used in children. So we have a large population that will not, be benefiting from it. We've also heard anecdotal as well as factual information that the two vaccine trials that are going on right now do not have enough minorities in them. So we really do not have the diversity. So all of these things culminated into this huge, question about the vaccine. Now, believe it or not, if we don't have the vaccine and if we do not get vaccinated, this problem will go on and on forever. If we develop herd immunity, if we have a good vaccine, and if the entire nation gets vaccinated, right, and it's safe, safety is paramount. Let's make sure that it's safe, even if it's 50% efficacious. And if the entire nation, the adult population, gets vaccinated, by next year, we are hoping, based upon the models that we are looking at, that we will develop some sort of herd immunity in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't we want to be back to somewhat normal? Dr. Fauci was saying that, by the end of 2021, we will come to some kind of normalcy. And I believe that, to be honest about it, because of all the issues that are going on and how are we going to dispense the vaccine, all the issues that are related to administering the vaccine, acceptance of the vaccine. So we should get vaccinated if our scientists are saying it is a safe vaccine, if it's an efficacious vaccine. But here you've got a prime example that if the push was so hard, right, and if there was just one individual out of 30,000 people that they were trying to test in phase 3 got an adverse effect, you completely stop the cycle of, doing the trial further. So that should give people confidence that, listen, none of these companies, none of these scientists are going to push something out because they just want to push it out. It is going to be safe. It is going to be efficacious.
All right. Well, I think we'll have to leave the conversation there. Dr. Chotani, any final words for viewers today?
Well, the final words obviously are that, even if we have a vaccine, till we get a vaccine, till we get any, other therapeutics, and there are other therapeutics that are being developed right now.
Yeah.
Make sure you wear your mask, social distancing, and hand washing. And just remember 9/11 and make sure that we remember that day and we all come together as a nation to protect our neighbors, to protect our families by wearing a mask and doing social distancing and hand washing. Thank you.
All right. Great final thoughts on this day. Dr. Rashid Chotani, Medical Director of IEM. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.